People will often say money is the root cause of all evil. I say poverty is the root cause of all evil. And I'll tell you why I believe so. Poverty exposes you to a wide range of risks and hardships nearly across all aspects of life. The first thing poverty will expose people to is health risks. People living in poverty often cannot afford good nutrition, clean water, or health care. This leads to increased risk of malnutrition, diseases, and preventable deaths, especially amongst children. Poverty limits your access to education. Because of poverty, people have no access to education. People who live in poverty cannot afford to pay school fees, pay for transportation, school uniforms. They struggle with things like this, and this will force them to drop out of school. And when that happens, this keeps the cycle of poverty in the same family because you have limited access or opportunities in life. Another thing poverty exposes people to is crime and exploitation. In desperate situations, people turn to crime to survive. Poverty also makes people vulnerable to human trafficking, child labor, and other forms of exploitation, including prostitution and any other, all these street crimes that you can think of. Poverty is what pushes people to be in that situation. Poverty also makes people to be in an unstable living conditions because sometimes they don't have good housing, they don't have a permanent place to live, so they don't have anything permanent in their life. So that's very difficult to start building or start creating something stable in your life, or even thinking of what you should be doing in your life at that point in time, because you're just thinking of the basic things that you cannot afford. Poverty exposes people to mental health. A lot of people, because of constant financial stress, leads to anxiety and depression. This is why it's very common with people who live in extreme poverty to be having mental health issues, and sometimes often lead to suicidal thoughts and all that. Poverty limits your access to justice. People who are poor or very poor, sometimes people do not care about them. Things happen to them and nobody fights for them because they cannot fight for their rights. And if it's a situation where you will need a lawyer to stand up for you, where are you going to get the money to fund it? Even when you live in a society where there are free legal advice and stuff like that, even as that will be the last thing that you want to start fighting for something when there's no food in your stomach. And children born in poverty are more likely to remain poor because they struggle on their own. Everything, they can be segregated, isolated, no information, no opportunity, nobody cares. It's worse in the developing countries. Tell me why poverty is not the root cause of all evil. People die because they cannot afford to even go to hospital for checkup. Hence, diseases will start progressing into things that would have been prevented or treated, and even diagnosis. Some never even get diagnosis. They just become unwell. They don't know what's happening. They cannot afford to go to hospital. Children don't go to school, and if they're not in school, where do they stay? They will be on the street, and this is why they are exposed to child trafficking. When you look at the number of kids that have been trafficked, are always kids from poor background, because they've captured them on the street, or sometimes even their parents, they know and they are aware that this is likely not going to be something good. Somebody will come, a stranger that they don't even know. Tell me why a parent will feel comfortable to let their child go with that stranger, because this person have said, I want to offer your child a job. I want to take your child abroad. Even as an adult, living in the same country that you were born and raised, moving to another state, it's always a big change. Before you settle down, get a job, try to figure out what you're supposed to be doing and get your life back, it's always a big change. Not to talk of a child, someone under 15 or even 15, 16, 17. A stranger will come and tell you that I have job opportunities for them to take them to another country or even another continent And most parents will allow this because what is the cause? Poverty. So tell me why poverty is not root cause of all evil. Poverty gives you less choices in life. Poverty makes you compromise a lot in life, things you wouldn't have accepted. Poverty brings your integrity down. Poverty makes you quiet and silent and take a lot of rubbish that you would not normally take. Poverty makes people humble in a situation where they shouldn't be humble. Poverty makes your self-esteem go down. Poverty makes you invincible in the society. Poverty makes you doubt yourself. Poverty makes you want to commit suicide. A lot of people have left this world because they couldn't afford things. They have compiled debts upon debts and they don't know how to face it anymore. They cannot take it anymore. And they just decided, what's the point of living? Why am I still here? I will end it all. That's what poverty does. Unless we tackle poverty, child trafficking is not going to go away. Child labor is not going to go away. Prostitution is not going to stop. Immoral behavior is not going to stop. And this is why I always refer back to what I always know and love is women empowerment. When we are talking about women having equal rights, women having options, it's because poverty allow a lot of them to be married so that their families can have a better life. Or even some of those girls want a better life because they come from a poverty background. They don't have choice, they don't have options. They can be taken as third wives, fourth wives. You see someone who should be in school will be given to an old man to get married to because you have to rescue your family. Poverty is a bastard. Poverty should be eradicated. I believe that every human being should have the basic needs in life. Not your wants, basic needs like food, clean water, and live in a good house. So my dear, fight against poverty. Do anything you can do to fight against poverty. See you in my next video. Take care. Bye.